Mixu versus Hydra. Game
Hydra.
1.
Top layer. Oh, and then we got Mixu down here in the bottom right. See how these guys go. Rematch time. Hydra up here. And I'm curious to how much plays out the same as before. Does anyone feel like they need to adjust, right? Like, maybe Mixu has to tighten up a few things, but is there any real adjustments? I think Hydra's pretty comfortable in the Zephyr.
I think Hydra sticks something in that choke point.
I think you might be right.
I think absolutely he sticks something in that choke point. A Citadel fighting even a Legion Hall. Honestly, anything that just like reduces those run bys a little bit. Yeah. I think this is also a map that you don't want as Mixu. I think this is not the map you can pull people apart on as much.
There's a lot of choke points, and there's a lot of like very central channels, right? And especially in this early game, that corridor all kind of leads in one spot. I'm super curious to see how the placement of buildings changes over the course of this, right? Like, do you want that Legion Hall further back so it can't be sniped, or do you want a more solidified choke at the front? Where do you draw the line? Where's the balance on that?
Yeah, I suspect Hydra must be aiming a little bit for just hello ground everywhere, because really, like, you never want your Zentari not on, you know, and you never want the wind step to not hit hello ground and get the cooldown reduction. So it's just one of those things where I think you just spread it around, because the placement's not going to matter too much in the end. This is interesting. I wonder if this is an attempt to try and blockade some run bys later on. Hard to know, but definitely a defensive posture.
I think it's also like if someone like goes, hey, surprise, I actually proxied to Legion Halls and here's 12 Sparis in your base, like, thoughts? You can be like, well, I've got this high ground base thing, like, it's really hard to push into that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a great place to be. And so it's one of those things that I think is an interesting like hallmark of someone that's like, you know, thinking ahead a bit, right? Because that's a pretty emergency, last desperate situation to be in. But to be like, hey, just in case, I've got my buildings here. So if it ever does happen, like, I'm ready for it. And look, here's that super early keeper of Hardened Flame again.
Yeah. Now, I think we didn't see any Fire Singers, right? So that just has to be an early weapon upgrade.
Super early.
I don't really see any other option, right?
Well. And it makes sense as well, because damage scales so well with what he's trying to do, which is go in and deal damage to structures. Especially with the Sipari, with the high damage density, all the spears reaching over each other. And then the Absolver's building damage is really high, so increasing that by 10% is huge, you know?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We're seeing an interesting thing here where Hydra's gone straight to this camp, but Mixu's crossed over to take the other Pyre Miner rather than going vertical to the Pyre Miner. So we might see a scuffle over the remaining Pyre Miner, depending how fast Mixu can get there, but I'm not sure... This might he's run by.
Oh,
I would love that timing, actually. I would really love that timing. If he sees units here, that's a perfect time to get some damage in.
Yeah, so I'm going to see what the adjustment is. It might just be that the neutral tower's the way. Yeah, I'm going to clean that up, because it was free Pyre on the map, right? Had to make sure to get that scout first, which is a fun way to delay.
Yeah, I really like the idea of chipping away at the Citadels, because you kind of want to force Empire Unbrokens and get a little bit of damage on Citadels and things like that.
No, you want Empire Unbroken on cooldown. Oh, these guys are sneaky sausages. Look at them go. Oh, this little moat's like, I'm going to go put down a third. These guys are like, oh, sorry, mate. How about you put down a nothing? That's craft humor.
That's a little intervention there.
Yeah. Getting a couple of moats here. Yeah, I think it might just be, that's going to be the adjustment. Yeah, and look, there's nothing hanging out here for him to target, especially, right? All those buildings are upstairs. There's nothing like, oh, there's a Legion Hall here, then I really want to push that. You know?
Let's see that Empire Unbroken, otherwise you're going to lose some. Oh, no, not Empire Unbroken. Deliver from me. Oh, there's a gap.
Oh, sneaky sausage. Oh, they got it. All this talk about what a good lineup he's got. I think he just sacrifices these at this point. No, he's going for it. Never mind. I thought it was a bit too late. Oh, gonna get the Salsion? I see 3 lights. I'm not sure. Oh, they made it. They're home. Whew.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a nice move. I like that. Really dragging him back inside the base, like, making the most of that. I like that play overall. It was well handled by Hydra as well, getting all the moats out of there, just to make sure there wasn't too much damage being done by these run-bys. And I think we're just going to see a solidifying of Hydra's position, because that third base is going to go up. It is going up now, and then we're going to start seeing citadels in between them. I think I just saw one go down now, and it's yeah, there it is, and it's just going to keep on coming, you know.
Yeah, no, I think I'm curious to see when Mixu gets this third down, because the real danger in these situations is that like Hydra's not only ahead economically, but then they're also getting a hit on Pyre because of all their turrets and they're putting them up all the time, right? Like if you're trying to sneak damage into people and you're like on equal footing on bases, that's one thing. But being behind is like a whole different desperate scenario, right? Then you start making mistakes or thinking I need to commit more because I'm behind on bases, and then all of a sudden you're losing units.
Yeah, and I love this Warden, first of all, let me just note that. But I think also, just really quickly, Mixu has to prioritize the right Pyre camp. And I think that's the easy one for Hydra to get. And if he can lock him out of that one camp, I think it gets really hard for Hydra to get Pyre outside of the towers. Now this is a great setup, because that's going to pull units back. How many it pulls back is the interesting question, right? Okay, well apparently the sponsors pull the moats to build an Angelarium, but look at that.
Got these guys ready, and they're in a central position, right? They can bounce between all these bases. They're already pulling back. They've figured it out.
This isn't going to get a lot done. The modes get pulled immediately. This has to be delivered from Evil out of here straight away, or these are going to die.
Oh, and they've teleported on. Deliver from Evil is going to be too late for that Absolver, and possibly for the second one. The target firing is really good now. I remember the first game, there was a point where an Absolver got out. It didn't have to, right? Because it wasn't target fire, it was A moved, and the adjustment's been made. They're getting sniping those Absolvers specifically each time to make sure that they don't ever build up that crucial unit, right?
Yeah, I like Mixu's. Yeah, I like Mixu's game plan overall. I just think the small scale execution's not quite there, because like that third base is such a nicer way to hit. Like if you've dragged someone into the main with your Warden, probably go hit the third, right? But also if you don't see the whole army, you might not have a window.
And not only that, like they went in there and they may have been expecting this production structure. The only one that they can really reach is that one that's nestled down their Soul Foundry, which is pretty much in the main, right? So there's not like small damage, which I think one of the other things, right? You can have degrees of success when you attack with this kind of attack, right? But right now there's nothing but the main. Right? And so they were probably going in for some of these smaller attacks, because then it's a really good trade, right? I lose some Pyre, but I gain like a structure or something, like a small win.
Yeah, definitely. You can get something from it.
Yeah, whereas like the third as well, like what's there? There's going to be the Acropolis and some moats, but it's pretty hard to go for the whole Acropolis, right? That's a whole enchilada.
I'm a little bit worried that Mixu wasn't more active in this last minute when all the Pyre camps were up. Like, the Pyre camp on the right side's still sitting there, and I'm sure Mixu has units that could be used to take that camp. So I'm wondering what's going on a little bit. Like, I understand that Zephyrs trade pretty well into your composition. Like, it's something you have to be careful of. But with intervention, you can make it safe. You know, you just have to really like pop the Salshin early and make sure you get that speed boost early.
Like when Z40 is going to dive back. Never mind. I was joking. I was just kidding. Please don't shoot. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah.
We've seen some issues here with the strategy of when you don't find that early damage, you're not quite picking them apart. You run into a little bit of a wall here. We are seeing a stack of Absolvers though.
Yeah, that's a serious Absolver count. And so that's the thing I was wondering. I was like, well, he's got so few Sapari. You know?
What's he making? Yeah, what's the word for a group of Absolvers?
Oh, it's a like a spinning thing.
It's a flurry of Absolvers.
A flurry of Absolvers. That's pretty good. I like that. Yeah.
A volley of
a cleansing of Absolvers. You know, because they're absorbing.
A cleansing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Throw some other ones in the chat. We'll see what the other ones are. What have you got?
Yeah, let us know in chat for sure. What are your plurals for? What's the word for a group of Absolvers?
Yeah, heard of Absolvers? I've heard of them. Yes. What is that guy doing? He's trying to figure it out. So this is a pretty hard point right here. And so this is interesting because this is very defensive, right?
It is.
And I mean, it is a fourth base, so I mean, he'll be ahead. But like, I wonder if the plan here is actually to go the fifth base right above this one, right? Like, and you just claim the whole right side of the map. That's a whole lot of things, and that Absolver needs to get the hell back because those guys could.
Oh no!
They're deployed. Yeah, so when
Oh,
stepping
wow.
out, it's managed to dodge all of the damage there. There's so many absolvers though, it's got to be pretty hard.
Oh, it's so much damage. I actually think Mixu has a window
Also
here.
an
Like,
upgrade.
oh,
Yeah.
just going up on that right side. I was gonna say that absolver count is just enough where oh, he's so got that covered. Look at the fire singers and the citadels.
No.
These
hope
guys are getting
no.
nothing going.
Yeah, the 2 scepters there is because I was going, oh man, that's a huge window for Mixu, right? The absolvers are really strong. If he just walks into a base, I feel like he can get a lot, right? The damage upgrades,
Yeah.
I think, are making him super lethal. However, the scepters are out now, and Mixu hasn't got that much anti-air. He is going to engage on those
Oh,
citadel
big
guns in
fight at
front
the
and
tower.
center. Yeah, big fight in the center of the map. We can't quite see it. If we can jump over to the center of the map, watch what's going on with that altercation. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so there's a big cast here from the
This is what we
Archmother.
wanted.
Empire Unbroken. Yeah, and he's going to push it. Look at the damage. Bam, 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 bam. There goes your Citadel. That was through an Empire Unbroken, right? There's the Archmother's Ordained Passage, making these units incredibly survivable. There's nothing here that shoots up yet. Here's the Sentinels arriving just in time. Absolver's going to deploy, take care of that. And so now, Hydra's been pushed back. But this is an even better line. Look at this tower defense player. Oh my god.
I
got
love
4
this from
citadels,
both
3
players.
fire singers. Yeah, it's awesome on both sides for sure. Sapari going off, beating up a whole lot of moats here, just bullying tiny baby angels.
Yeah.
And so now here's the
think-
hard thing though. Is
Oh, you
one,
go, you
the
go.
ancient control is gone, but 2, Mixu is ahead on bases, and for Hydra to take another base, he has to extend past this realm, like his little defense sphere, you know? And that's going to be a really interesting one. Like, how do you push out of there? Oh!
Yeah. I mean, Hydra has a clear game plan, and it's the same game plan. We're going into Thrones, baby. Now, the
The biggest unit.
one issue is that this is a very different game to playing against Aru. Krath air counters are quite strong. The Cascadator in particular is a hater of Thrones. That man deals crazy damage to Thrones.
It's because he's jealous, man. He's an angel and he's jealous of all those other angels in the sky. He's like, let me get up there! Let me get there! A
Oh
rodeo
god,
was
these
over.
units are just dying though. Totally caught on the tech switch despite seeing the scepters.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
These
all the
absolvers are just
absolvers are dying.
eating it.
Oh
Couple of Sasha
no,
trying their best,
Mixu.
but they're just standing under it, getting shot. These need to run into some random part of the map and try and base trade as hard as possible, I think.
Yeah, he had to be splitting up the key units there. This is
Single
tragic. He's
cascaded.
also just not at the critical mass. Like, those Sentinels are just not going to do it.
Yeah, this is going to be hard. I think he can afford to lose the space for now, though. I don't think he's that far behind yet, right? It's when the production starts falling that things get really dangerous.
I think he's
And
in
that-
trouble just because the Absolvers stop the Zephyrs. If you all of a sudden can't fight the Zephyrs as well, things get really dire. Or don't lose the
The
Archmothers
Archmothers,
too.
they're not going the right way. They're like coming in to see the thrones. And that's
At
not
least
making
we're
well.
seeing some trading on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Castigators can be microed around to the point where they don't die.
This is
but
going to be a
this is nice.
serious micro fight. You've got 2 different engagements that need to be very delicately balanced. Empire Unbroken on that 4th base, and then we're going to see if these Castigators can dance around the throne, which are pushing down to the natural. Oh, he's going to put the Ordained Passage on them. They take less damage, but it doesn't matter because there's so many thrones.
Nice micro with the Castigators though. We're getting some damage onto the thrones for sure.
One more. Nice. That one Castigator's nearly down. Just going to get... Yeah, so the Castigator count is going to equalize soon. Castigator's equal to thrones. Just want to shoot the one that's low, though. Yeah, nice. Okay, so these thrones are now dying. And now it's going to shift into a much more balanced game, hopefully, as the compositions reset. This Castigator probably needs to be ran back.
I think he took way too much from this. Mixus just took way too much from that first attack. Look what's coming over.
Yeah, it's a
Those
lot
were
more
the
thrones.
first thrones trading out, and they're not even dead.
Yeah.
This has to be a game here. Like, the population is double
Huge
for
threat.
Hydra.
Yeah.
This has happened over and over and over today. When a player's going to realize Hydra loves thrones.
He loves them. He's a throne man.
He loves them.
He went in there and he was like, look, Krath, I'd like to have the biggest unit you've got. Like the Zentari, and you're like, that's pretty big and I like it, but I want something bigger. The hugest
I'll
unit.
start on that. That'll be my
Yeah.
appetizer, sir.